Good morning, church family and Facebook friends. For this morning's devotion, we're in Philippians chapter 1, verses 22 through 24, where Paul says, "But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor. Yet what I choose, I wot not. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is needful for you." The Apostle Paul is beginning to transition now in this chapter. He's begun the chapter by praying and thanking the Lord for the folks in Philippi and commenting on their joy. And then he talked about the defense of the gospel and the priority of the gospel. And we saw yesterday that he talked about that his life was wrapped up in Christ. He said, "For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain." Now he's going to start transitioning in this chapter towards not only more on the gospel, but also care for the church. And he says here that he's caught in between two ideas. One idea is he'd like to go to heaven. And I don't blame him. He's in prison. Heaven would certainly be better than prison, but that's not his thinking. It's not a selfish idea. He would like to be in the presence of the Lord, and that's far better than anything here on this earth. But he also said this. He said, "But to stay here is needful for you, the church." Paul, like Jesus Christ, had the attitude about putting others first. It was more important to him that the church in Philippi be strengthened by his teaching, by his letters to them, even from prison. This whole letter is a letter of joy. His concern for other churches was the same. He would write in the book in the Corinthians to the Corinthians that on him came daily the care of all the churches. You may sit there and say, "Well, I'm not a pastor." No, you may not be, but somebody has rightly said that God has either called you to be a pastor or to help a pastor. You may not be a pastor, but you can have the same concern for your church that a pastor does. You can be praying for your pastor, praying for your church, praying for members in your church that are needful. They have needs and issues. Some have health problems. Right now, folks are having some financial issues as well because of what's going on in our country and our world. And so we can have that same concern, and we can have the attitude that for me to live is Christ, yes, but it's also important that I live for others. Paul again said in verse 24, "Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is profitable for you." We need to make sure that our life is profitable to other people. And we can do that with our attitude. We can do that with prayer. We can pick up the phone and we can call somebody today and tell them, "Hey, I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you." Let's live for others, even in these days. Have a great day. It's a wonderful time to serve the Lord. I love you. I'm looking forward to our services tomorrow at 11 a.m. and 6:30. Be sure to tune in live. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.